Cell phone, right?
Hi. Good afternoon or evening. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, not 2023 as it says on the agenda, 6 p.m. And we'll get this meeting started. Are we doing Pledge of Allegiance or is no flag here? So
No, it's on there. It's not on there.
okay, moving on to roll call.
President Lorraine,
Here.
Vice President Clute,
Here.
Commissioner Nats,
Here.
Commissioner Peterson,
Here.
Commissioner Sweet.
Here. All right, thank you, Carrie Ann. And are there any modifications, additions, and changes to the agenda?
There's not.
All right, and we will be open for public comment. Anybody on for public comment? All right, business action items. First action item is to adopt resolution 2024-3. This is budget transfer resolution.
Thank you, commissioners. Every year, this is a bit of a ritual in the budget process where our budgets to actuals are trued up, and if needed, we'll make a budget transfer from perhaps one line item to another to address any unplanned overages or major differences in the budgets to the actual. The only one we have this year in that vein is in the events commission line item and also in parking. Our events manager has exceeded her sales expectations for this year, so significantly. So this is a happy budget transfer. We have also worked on changing the payout trigger schedule for the 10% commissions that our events manager makes on those sales. Currently, those commissions are not paid out until the event occurs and final payment is received. And as many of you know, with weddings, that is usually a 2-year timeline. And so what we are wanting to do is add a trigger for a half of a commission payout when we receive the deposit for a wedding, and then the second half of the commission is paid when we receive the final payment for the wedding. This helps to mitigate inflation problems with waiting 2 years to pay a 10% commission. And it also is a greater incentive to continue what she's doing already, which is increasing the frequency of sales and bookings on out into the future. Since we did not hire a parking enforcement officer this year, we do have these funds available in parking unexpended. And so we're recommending a transfer from that line item to be able to finish on a balanced budget.
Okay. So I guess we want to have a recommendation to approve this resolution and then have some discussion. Does anybody want to make a motion and then discuss, or do we want to discuss before we make a motion?
I'll make a move to approve resolution 2024-3, transferring obligations within the 2023-2024 budget.
I'll second that motion.
All right, well, let's discuss, I think. So I had a couple questions. I know I talked to Jeremiah earlier about it. I have another question. If we're moving the budget away from enforcement officer, that means that we won't have enforcement at all during this budget season, right?
This is for the current fiscal year that we're in right now.
Oh, the one that ends in a month?
Right.
Oh.
So that's
okay.
why why it's here towards, and you'll see this typically at the end of a budget season where you make your projections on what you think you're gonna sell, or you think what the bridge is gonna do. And then
Anything that's way off.
you want to correct this.
Yeah.
Alright,
I do not have a security officer for your information. I do not have a security officer in the budget that is coming after this. The answer is no. It will not
Right.
happen.
that makes sense, alright, and just to, for everybody else's awareness, how the revenue is recognized, if you wanna explain that, cause it just helped me a little bit process.
Sure. So it's one thing, it's one of the things that's made our books somewhat difficult. Matt Acton can attest to this. He spent a tremendous amount of time building us a system that will allow us to recognize unearned revenue. So the campground, the weddings is simple, but it's even simpler for me to explain with the campground. So if somebody comes and rents our campground out a couple of weeks in advance, we get that revenue, but we don't recognize it on our accounting side until they actually use the camping space. So until that service is actually provided for them, then we can recognize that.
So even though we collect money for a wedding in
Correct.
2024, and the wedding's not till 2025, we don't recognize that
That's
revenue until
correct.
2025.
That's correct.
So I was just more curious about how that worked for our own sake.
Yeah, for sure. It wasn't a complicated thing to solve. We have a number of online systems that we use. And each one's a little bit different, and each one of the reporting features a little bit different. Matt's taken an Excel spreadsheet and on a pretty high level, definitely doing more of the VLOOKUPs and that kind of stuff that I'm capable of doing, and able to bring that all into one system. So that was a big hurdle for us to get over.
Thanks, Ryan.
That's a good question.
And I should add, you know, that the current, trigger schedule, I call it a trigger schedule, you know, when we receive a check that triggers a payment of a commission. Part of this budget transfer resolution is to make sure that starting in the next fiscal year, we move to that 5 and 5 payout schedule. So we need to reconcile everything that would be paid out 10% after July 1 to alleviate the confusion, to go ahead and have that first 5% paid in this fiscal year, so that all of the weddings have the same schedule, that they'll pay out a 5% commission when we receive the.
Really hard to track.
Exactly, we didn't want to mix, so it would make everybody crazy, so that's another reason why we want to do it in this fiscal year, instead of trying to wait until all of those weddings happen in their own time, and
Right.
So
try to remember which wedding is on which, you know, schedule we're gonna.
If the 5% payout at the deposit happens, what happens if someone cancels? Do they get?
That's a
their
great
deposit back?
question, I forgot to say, yeah, thank you. The commission is still paid out,
Okay.
but the cancellation policy fully funds that second 5%, so the port would not lose any.
Okay.
They would simply lose a reservation that could easily be replaced, yeah, so, yeah. So there's no risk to the port of actually, you know,
But we would still be paying the commission, right?
sorry,
The commission would still get paid.
the full commission would still be paid,
Okay.
yeah, out of the cancellation deposit.
Does the court get anything from any cancellation?
I think it's a couple $100, so we would still make a couple $100, it's less than the commission.
Okay, any other discussion? Then all in favor of approving this resolution? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, Brad. All right, thank you, everyone. Resolution passes.
I apologize, my video is not working tonight for some reason either. I haven't figured out why, so otherwise you'd get to see me too. I know it's disappointing.
We don't have TVs in here, so unless we're logged in through our computers, we can't see it anyway.
I don't even know what's the Wi-Fi. So
All right, at this point, we are going into executive session. The Port of Cascade Blocks Commission will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602E, which allows the commission to meet in executive session to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions. And ORS 192.6602F, which allows the commission to meet in executive session to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. And or ORS 192.660 to H, which allows the commission to meet in executive session to consult with counsel concerning legal rights and duties of public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be followed. Representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend to the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of the executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room.
Like Matt, we don't need it.
Okay, so we did you? No.
Oh. There you go. Mayor, Tony, you can hear us?
All right, that concludes our executive session. Do we want to have any discussion or make a motion regarding our cat bus transportation now? I think maybe the sooner we move on, the better, right?
Yeah, is there any need to review it further, Jeremiah? Okay. I make a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Hood River County Transportation District for toll waivers and Port of Captions regarding the cats. As stated.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, those opposed? All right, motion passes.
We will give this to, we will share this with them. They still need to agree to this, right? So it'll be dependent on them, but we have that, going forward to them now.
Sounds good. All right, moving on to the executive director reports.
Thank you. So we're pretty much fully in the middle of this summer stuff. It's happening very quickly. We experienced our first backup at the bridge on the Memorial holiday. Me and Parker tackled that, but it's something that we can expect to see all summer long. I generally have received, I believe, what is a more relaxed sort of stance from this commission on making sure that we move those backups through town maybe more quickly than we previously had. That's the way that we approached it last year. That's the way that we continue to approach it at this first one. There are two people that have the ability to waive traffic at the bridge. I'm one of them, Parker's the other. I guess we shall I do that, although I never want to in that total.
I would think it would be incredibly slow. Personally. As from business standpoint,
so unless we're never going to be able to remove all the pressure that this commission will feel, or that Parker will feel, or that I will feel from the community members that they get frustrated about that. I've been in that line plenty of times. I've been frustrated by it, and I'm the only guy that can fix it. So I get the frustration about that. We will continue to approach it incident by incident. It's always a judgment call based on how long the line is, how long that line has actually sat there. The line getting long doesn't really bother me. It's when it gets long and it stays long. Because there are times that a slowdown happens for whatever reason, our toll takers can catch it back up. We also have some new toll takers who haven't really done one of these fast days before. So there's a couple different strategies that you have to take when you're up there, and one lane is busy and the other one isn't. So Parker's been teaching those, but it's something we'll definitely see throughout this summer. Genevieve is talking about, well, I guess all of us are talking about doing social media posts, giving some people some tips on how to make that line move faster, having your cash ready, Also, we have pretty good details and data on when the busiest times are. I realize that, you know, you can't always plan your life around that, but it would be nice to know. That bridge is always busy on the hour, every hour. And then between the hours of 2 and 4:30 is when we see the most of our traffic. And that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And it will slowly move into Wednesday, but that doesn't happen until almost the middle of summer.
Just a random question, in the state of an emergency for like a county or a state, like for example, another Eagle Creek fire, like what's the procedure for the port to do to remove the tolls and open the gates, or is that?
Yeah, but in an emergency response system, yes. If you've got lights flashing and you're going, if we were to have another Eagle Creek, right? So a long incident or a major incident like that, we would probably need to convene the commission and be like, what are we doing? How are we handling this? What's the process? But if there isn't just it's a big fire and you have to remove a tool of tolls. But if you come across that bridge with your lights on, you blow right by. So good.
I've done it once, and I know that you didn't like it last time. Tap to pay.
So
Yeah.
I have heard that the backup sometimes can be a benefit to the local businesses. You know, certain breweries have mentioned that there were some traffic problems on the freeway this last weekend. And it had a real positive effect on the breweries because they just thought, well, let's stop and have a beer instead of sitting here backing up. I think Buddies needs to put up a sign. Sitting in traffic, why not stop and have a beer while you're waiting? You know? So it's not all bad.
Tap to pay. People through there faster. Get through there faster.
And we do have agreements with ODOT and WSDOT that if they call us and they want the bridge opened up because it's creeping too far down 14 or it's getting up onto I-5, they call and make that call. We waive all traffic and then send them a bill for the tolls. So they have that option too as well. To say, hey, you guys gotta get this traffic moving. There's some agreements that Hood River has on their bridge that we're gonna be looking at as well. So maybe more to come on that too. Yeah. I'm gonna let you take yours.
Oh, okay. Mostly it's just a bunch of administrative stuff that was kind of boring. We submitted the report to the ARPA grant, but we have fully expended those funds. Our final report is due July 15th, and so we'll be working to do that, but it feels nice to have that completely wrapped up. Staff was reviewing the ODOT grant agreement and that you approved last week, and that's good to go. We had a lot of meetings with P-Square staff. Over Memorial Day weekend, the entire grease-by system was moved from the Port of Hood River servers to the cloud, and that required, we were down for 48 hours, I think. It was about almost a 3-day downtime for grease-by. But it works great, and
Just the back end of it.
just the back office accounting part of it, and so nobody could add money to their grease-by account during Memorial Day weekend, but it was still otherwise working as it should have been. And this move is a significant enhancement to the security protocols and our protections of folks' personal information. Let's see. Captain Tom Day was great, and it was full team effort. Every single person that worked at the port worked on Captain Tom Day and worked hard on it. But I think he really enjoyed it, and I think Stephen and George really felt the love, and it was a positive event. It was a lot of work, but also want to just thank Caden and Jim for being so cool and flexible with us on taking over the vote for that night. So they were amazing to work with. Part of the project for the Army Corps to extinguish the flowage easements that they currently have on port and other folks' own properties around the Herman Creek Cove area and the Government Cove area. Parker and I are working through the environmental review process that has to happen in order for those easements to be extinguished. And one of those is we needed to get a title report on all of our parcels and be able to certify that there were no environmental liens on any of those properties. So that was a project that is still underway, but we received our sort reports back. And we'll be going through those and sending those on to the real estate office of the Army Corps. Let's see. We're gonna be launching a solicitation for 4th of July fireworks sponsors. And so we're setting sponsorship levels and perks right now for that, and building our recipient list. Thanks to Melissa, we compiled a list of all of the vendors that the board has paid for something from, and we'll be sending them a solicitation letter for a sponsorship for our fireworks. So we have a really nice list building, and we're adding more people to it. We had a really good meeting with David McCurry, the bridge engineer, talking about the rollout process for our RFPs for our study. And we'll have more information on that at the next meeting. Let's see. The Oregon State Troopers and the Army Corps in the post in the Dalles has another life jacket kiosk. Wooden kiosk like the one we have at the beach, and they're gonna donate it to us. Parker's gonna pick it up tomorrow and install it at the Herman Creek Cove Beach. Free of charge. We're gonna paint it, make it look nice and put the exact same signage on there, so we'll have another life jacket owner station there at almost no cost. And here too, oh yeah, and also the facilities crew spruced up the little poster board kiosk down here at the boat launch. We're gonna get a owner jacket station there too. And then with the mobile one that the canoe club has, we'll have 4 in the city.
We have some extra life jackets you guys can use.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so that's up from 0 last year, so I think we're much more prepared, I think, for summertime, and we'll be promoting those and making sure that we put our loaners that are permanently installed. Loaner stations are on the maps, the Oregon State Marine Board and the swim apps. And last thing is we started a Google ad for the campground with a $500 credit, and we'll let you know how that goes.
Can you give us a small update on festival nations? I saw Janetta having made her for events just for.
Oh, yeah, Festival Nations is coming June 15th. And it sounds to me like the plans are coming together. We're just starting the coordination of the map of what's gonna be where. Spent a little bit of time reviewing their plans for the salmon bake and ensuring that it's not the traditional dig a trench. If you've ever been to, you dig a big one. These are freestanding fire pits that they'll be bringing in. So that's great, and Jeanette is working really hard with their event coordinator to make sure that they've got all their paperwork done. We require an insurance certificate at a certain level and everything like that, so she's working on all
How's
Do
the,
we have the vendors? Sorry.
last I heard only 4 vendors, but I think there's more coming together.
and parking is being managed by the port or by the?
No, the entire event has to be managed
Okay,
by them. Yeah. And security as well, yeah, parking and security.
So Genevieve, I've been handing over to the last couple of times for her to move through some of her administrative updates, and I'm gonna start doing the same with Parker. As he attends our meeting, he does his operation updates. I won't put you on the spot now, but I want to make sure I didn't leave anything out that you want to make sure that the commission is aware.
Welcome to the team, Faith Johnson and Matt. Excuse me on his last name, Dylan. Welcome to the team. We've got Matt at night and Faith at Steve Hall. They're both doing excellent so far. Really great addition to the team.
Thanks, Parker.
Yep.
We'll be seeing events at this meeting to present this as well as part of the management team. It'll probably be quarterly for her. We will continue to see Dan Marr to present as well. It'll probably be quarterly for him. And then Matt Atkin will be part of this team as well, presenting to the commission. So a little bit of change up there from strictly an executive director report to one from each one of the departments. JD's kind of leaning into that already, Parker as well. So probably sometime after the fiscal year, we'll start to see that be the format going forward. I'm headed to PNWA maybe after this meeting, maybe in the morning. We'll see how I'm feeling. I will be up there in Clarkston for 4 days. Have an opportunity to sit on a panel with David McCurry and talk about our bridge project. That's really exciting. The Bi-State Bridge Committee that is handling the Hood River project will be there. More, maybe a story. Somebody's out there. There's 3 of us on the panel to talk about our bridge projects. So that's a good opportunity for us to go up there and tout our wins because it was a good win. Met with Kevin Waters today, had great discussions with him. He's running unopposed this year. So if you had an opportunity to catch some of his campaign videos, he's talking lots and lots about the future of our bridge. He's really excited to play a role in that and to help us find some money from the legislation, the Washington legislation. So that's exciting. It was a great conversation with him. We're going to try to get him and Jeff Helfrich together. Both have expressed interest in getting to know one another, so we're going to try to facilitate that. That's whole nation to be covered. We will be closed on the 19th for Juneteenth. Commissioner Rendex, I believe, or any questions?
There's one more addition on mine. Thank you to Laurel, she's doing an awesome job in the campground. We had a full campground all weekend. It's been one of the parts of my job that I felt like I not had to have my hands in as much, as she's doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
Big shout out to Laurel.
Sweet. Anything else? All right, moving on to commission comments and subcommittee reports. We'll start on the other side of the room, Mr. Albert.
This is our dodgeball team. We were talking about this earlier. You guys really have the dodgeball thing. Very funny. I hope your arms healed. Okay, good. I was able to meet with Ted for LabQuest the night before actual LabQuest in Easy Climb.
Meet Ted.
Was that
Ted or Kevin?
Ted?
Yeah, Ted. I think I said Kevin, sorry.
Oh, no. Ted, the night before the event, he said it was a smaller event for 50 to 60 people who were going to be attending. And then I actually had a couple of friends that are that actually live out of Portland that came and went. They said it was a fantastic time. So good stuff there. Captain Tom Day was phenomenal. So thanks to everyone that had anything to do with it. I told Jeremiah this, but the personality, the person, the persona that is Captain Tom, I think the entire event, like the speakers, just the way that people interacted with one another, it felt very lighthearted, it felt very welcoming. It really, to me, kind of captured who Captain Tom is in my eyes, is welcoming, lighthearted, like easy to talk to, just like a great person. So kudos for capturing that spirit of the events and for him. And then now we have to figure out what do we do next year. Every year. So we'll even, yeah, that'll be great. I think tap to pay would be awesome. People approved. They would have money either. Other than that, I think those are the main things that hit top of mind right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Albert. Over to you, Miss Pam.
I too was just floored by Captain Tom's celebration. It was warm and inviting. It was meaningful. Every word that was said to him was meaningful, and what they said back, I will never forget him telling his side of the story. Yeah, that was so special. And the audience, they stayed engaged the whole time, so it wasn't like, it was full celebration. It was just full of joy. I loved it. I know that you guys played a big part, but I know that everybody, like you said, even people behind so I really appreciate it. And like you said, also, it's probably the best darn party that it's done in a long time. It was pretty amazing. I wanted to bring up, I'm not going to go into it, but you sent me the phase 1 regarding the environmental impacts down there. And it has brought a lot of questions for me. I'm still marking it up, so I'll send it to you first and then try to clear down what I'm gonna bring to the commission. So that's coming. I did go down to Hermie Cove and see the property that you guys talked about being groomed. It looks beautiful. So we need to work on that too. And so grateful for everyone, everything that you do, everybody. Glad to be here. Yeah.
I run two quick things, you guys don't mind. One, tomorrow is Cascade Locks Elementary School Art Walk. Starts at 5, you go to the school and then just walk around town and you see art from all the kids. And then go back to the elementary school for dinner. They'll have like taco tacos there.
Fun.
So if you all are interested, it'd be cool to just like walk around. I think some of Ash's art is up at Buddy. Oh, my house. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of kids, all the artists is there. And two, I don't know if it would be interesting to probably either of you, maybe even you, but the kayak and gorge folks reach out to me, they give me this a quick email as a business owner and as a corporation, but I can share with you guys. That would be great. Basically, they said that they're trying to get 20,000 people on the water this summer, so they're only charging them $1 a kayak. So
They approached the gorge, you go also.
okay, yeah, cool. Sorry, that was all I had. Until Rob reminds me of something else.
Yeah, Captain Tom Day was an amazing event. I feel like same type of energy got from the annual community picnic, just really good to see all the faces in town and just the appreciation of service. For those who stepped in our winter emergency and just also recognize Tom's long years of service. He's a big inspiration for the next generation. And, I've already heard things from George that he wants to be a captain someday. So it's encouraging to see that next round of folks. I really don't have a whole lot else to say other than there's a hazardous waste event on Saturday from 10 to 2 by the graveyard. So trying to keep the river clean, you can drop your
So you should.
toxic stuff in there. Yeah, don't go in the river. So.
All right, Brad. You're not forgotten, I swear.
Well, the fact that I have been kind of out of the loop a little bit this last week or two because I've had COVID and been concluding some home projects. Looking forward to being on the mend and maybe having getting together with you all, having margaritas down at the Big Stop. Here they may be opening someday. Sorry, I missed the big event down at the Sternwheeler. Really missed that one. But now that I've concluded most of my major pressing projects, I'm looking forward to enjoying retirement and getting plugged back into the commission a little bit more. Looking forward to watching us hit the ground running now that our strategic business plan is finalized and we can begin to actually make some ground on some of those plans that we've had rolling around in our head a little bit. But, we've been making a lot of mental plans and it will be good to see them moving forward. So looking forward to working with you all. I like what I see. That's all I have.
All right.
Everybody really likes his victory, Brad. I don't even know if it's,
Thanks, Brad. All right, so for me, I want to echo everyone's sentiments about Captain Tom Day. I absolutely loved it and enjoyed myself. And was so cool to see everyone get together, lots of talk around town where sometimes personalities don't always get along, and seeing everyone come together and just to get along and agree and, in celebration of somebody who deserves it. It was awesome. Also looking forward to celebrating next year and the year after and the year after. Also looking forward to the Festival of Nations coming up. That sounds really exciting. So I'll support the traffic by riding my bike down. There you go. Any updates on Flex 6?
We should have two proposals for you guys to look at. Neither one of them are what I would say are home runs, but they are interesting and you guys will have to take a look at them. I think by the next meeting, I individually spoke to all of you that I've got somebody that's potentially looking at purchasing the building outright. And then we have a current tenant that has some ideas that he wants to run past his commission. So there is some traction. None of them is 43,000 square feet with 60 employees, but it's nice to be showing some people the building and having some conversations.
Excellent. I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up.
I told Carrie, just make it a part of this agenda. We can all cross off at once.
And I was wondering also, I know you had a couple talks or meetings with people about Christmas lights and bridge lighting quotes potentially, so I was
Yes.
curious what the status
So
was.
the bridge lighting quotes, not so much. We've had conversations and talked about lighting up the bridge and the products that they offer. Not so much that we're actually looking at dollars and cents on it now. I mean, we can, we will, but at this point, it hasn't gone that far to where we're actually looking at what it would cost to do that bridge. Like it requires some hands-on and we'll do with that. And most of these companies were, where's that last one from?
Oh, goodness, they were a postal company, but they are a franchise. There's 30 of them in the United States, the largest one being out of Spokane. His was based out of, I think, right along the coast. I can't remember where they were based out of. Canby, Oregon, is what comes to mind, but
And me too. I was looking at overseas. When we did that color.
Color Kinetics.
Color Kinetics.
Color Kinetics was that's the large company that there's a big franchise on. There's two franchises. One is for bridges that are federally funded, and the other being the Color Kinetics. The Color Kinetics seems like the only option for us, if not one of just a couple of options. But we did not get very far in numbers.
From a numbers standpoint,
What's possible?
what's possible. We'll have to wrap our brains around it. I haven't really got Dave or Curry to. And we're doing some research too. We're just looking over in the Tri-Cities, the ports, Port Kennewick or once Pasco, Port of Pasco, they came together and just relit their bridge. So we're trying, before we just go ask these companies, how much is it to light our bridge? We kind of want to have as much background as we can, because I think the question we're getting a lot is how much money do you have? Perfect, that's what it's gonna take to light your bridge. Kind of feels like it's one of the best projects.
So align that with the centennial,
Yeah.
and then have the initial lighting during the celebration.
So scratching the surface, but not very deep. The update on the parks is we had a consultant come out and take a look. He was gonna get back to us and had a family tragedy. He's kind of in the middle of a family tragedy, an ongoing one that involves his child. So we're giving him a little space, but he works with another company very close to Spokane, or so we think we're gonna get his partner, he's gonna come down and take another look at it instead. He felt really bad and he's been in good communication with us and it's like, oh, it's coming, but I don't think it's gonna come for a while. He's got his hands full. So,
Yikes.
that held us up a little bit, but we're jumping back on.
Okay,
I feel confident in his, he had a good plan kind of set forward that he's gonna hand off to his other contractor, friend, and so I feel confident that we're not miles behind on the project, so they do have some legwork to go through, and him and I will meet this month.
okay. It'll be interesting to see the results.
Okay.
Who else square in July 4th?
So, yeah,
July 4th,
what was the question?
are we all square?
Yeah, did you order the fireworks?
Yeah, I'm sure you all have that one down there.
You take both deposits.
Okay.
Our maintenance guys kind of just kick into gear on that one. It's the same thing every year for them and we actually don't even talk about it very much. They just get up and do it. It's a long day for them. It's a long day. But yeah, we're good to go. Cool.
I thought we can drones next year.
Right?
We're winning.
That's the problem, is the wind. But other than that, we have to have a little airport to take them off from. It has to be so far from the location. Like I researched it a couple of years ago. It doesn't be perfect, but it's wind.
Well, it's also bad for inverted lots.
Yes.
And the Eagles too.
So fingers crossed, we don't have any fire issues. That's just a reminder, that's something that most commissions face every year, is at some point in time, something's gonna catch on fire somewhere. And then everybody looks at us and we're shooting off fireworks. The plan is to shoot off fireworks as of right now.
It's 92 on Friday.
If we want to start talking,
81.
we want to start talking an alternative, which I know is something you guys were throwing around. I can't remember if it was after the election or before the election, but I know we talked about laser light shows, we talked about alternative ideas. It would be something we probably need to start talking about now for next year, so plan this year's fireworks. Cool.
Good, and then I can get with you after the meeting, but I know we talked on at Captain Tom Day about scheduling possibly the first kickoff meeting for the subcommittee on the 21st. So if we can maybe move forward with that, that would be great. We don't need a budget for the first meeting.
What's that?
So we don't need a budget for the first meeting. It looks like we have another committee member interested from the other side of the river. What's her name? But from the other museum.
Lou.
Yeah. So I will, can you include her on the email? If you're the one scheduling, I'm not sure how subcommittees work really, so, is Carrie on the one that does all the organizing, and then do we have to vote on like president, vice president, and all of that?
Well, yeah, I'll take a look and see what the charge is for that one, and how, I can't remember what type of committee we did do. Was it, it's an advisory committee, or is it a, I'll have to look, I'm
Okay.
gonna double check.
I don't know,
But,
I don't know.
it might be an ad hoc committee. I'll check, make sure that we are following all the procedures on it. I know that's something you guys want
I
to
don't
do.
mind doing that, I can work either,
Sure.
like, for it, if it lands on Fridays, that you guys end up being off.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have to like come in and do that.
But if, yeah, if there is any admin work that you need done for it, or that you'd like done for it, send that to me and I'll.
But if it has to be recorded live, I would probably need to figure out how to do the owls. Anyway, that's all I have. Anything else from anybody before we adjourn? I'm so sorry.
I have Albert volunteering to speak at Festival of Nations. Does anybody else want to speak?
Volunteer for what? Sorry.
Festival of Nations,
Speaking at,
Emily and I did.
If Brad if Brad isn't available.
My question is, or is it, is, do I, yeah, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But they invited everybody to speak, invited everybody.
Okay.
I mean.
you can speak on our behalf.
I think we could vote on that.
We actually do have to vote on that.
Oh, really?
Well, I just, if it's like, oh, you have 5 minutes, I would be like, oh my god, maybe I don't speak. I just wanna know if it's prepared as a part of, like.
She hasn't done this yet.
Okay,
I'll maybe send her over.
okay.
I would need a little liquid courage before I get in front of an audience with a microphone.
Yeah, we'll sit down and look through that.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
I'm
go.
gonna stand with you. I think you did a great job with Tom, and I think you did a great job at the
Yeah.
Thank you.
Festival of Nations, so I'd be happy to stand with you.
And thank you guys for convening the meeting for the proclamation. I think that was,
Yeah.
we had a lot of work on here.
I had to leave some extra
time.
We're gonna get you a nice one.
Yeah.
To get her. I didn't print it up since Thursday, but we're gonna get like a nice one. We get you guys big signatures on it, something you can hang on to.
Okay,
Thanks for email or texting me the reminder that the meeting was happening. I had it on the calendar, but I had this Thursday, not that Thursday, and I was like, I always.
If I ever suggest a meeting on Monday again, tell me no. It's a rough way to start a week.
all right, well, on that note, if there's nothing else, I say meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.